Okay, so here you can see my magnet motor. It's a V-gate motor with magnetic neutralization driving it. There's the motor running, and right there is the magnetic neutralization unit. It's got a giant permanent magnet going into an iron core surrounded by a large coil of magnet wire. And the coil is energized briefly to neutralize the magnetic field in the iron core, which is induced by the permanent magnet. And that basically it reduces or eliminates the magnetic field just briefly enough to overcome the gate on the V-gate, and then once that is done, the sensor on the wheel over here, there's actually two magnetic sensors. You can see the pickup right here. There's a magnetic reed switch that goes back into this circuitry right here. It's just basically a MOSFET switch which turns the coil on and off. And then that switches the coil on and off, then switches the magnetic field on and off, overcomes the gate, and the permanent magnet interacts with the permanent magnets on the V-gate to accelerate for the rest of the trip. There's actually two V-gates around the circumference of the drum, and I'll show that to you right now. I'm going to slow it down. You can see the two gates. And if you let it go, you can actually hear the coil being energized. It's trying to move, trying to be attracted to the magnets at the gate. When it's de-energized, when the permanent magnet field is de-energized. Anyways, the parts, all these parts, the drum, the brackets right here, the stand for the permanent magnet coil, magnetic neutralization unit, were all done using 3D printing, thanks to Cameron McLaughlin. And the rest of the parts were gotten off eBay, pretty much, and DigiKey, electronics parts. I know it's a mess in here. I'm doing other projects as well, but this is basically it. So I was able to get it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run a pulley or a belt from here down to here. I'm going to mount a small DC generator. I'm going to try and generate electricity to charge a battery, and then use the battery to charge the coil. And I'm going to see what type of round-trip differential in energy generation versus energy usage I get. As it stands, the coil takes approximately 2 amps, a 2 amp pulse, to energize the coil to overcome the magnetic field induced by the permanent magnet into the iron core. And that's a very brief pulse. And then the rest of the trip around the circumference of the drum just uses the permanent magnet field induced into the core by the permanent magnet on the back, right there. So it's just a very brief electrical pulse using electric power. So we'll see what happens. Magnetic neutralization was a phenomenon that was discovered to the best of my knowledge, by gappower.com, and they have some very interesting machines on their website that are using that. They claim over Unity on their machines using magnetic neutralization. I'm not claiming that. I don't know what I'm claiming, to be honest. We'll see what happens when I do the generator and the calculations. So there you have it. My little V-gate motor using magnetic neutralization. Hope you like it.